My name's Dave Albwald, sitting here with Holly Garcia. Holly is a good friend and someone who has recently, graduated from, you went to Baylor, is that correct?
Baylor.
And studied social work and did social work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is now working in the field, as well as just someone who is passionate about being a follower of Christ and what that looks like to live out that calling in everyday life. And so, maybe just describe briefly, what is your kind of role in social work right now? What do you, because it seems like something new and you're learning a ton right now.
I am, yeah.
So what's the role and what would you say you're learning right now?
Okay, well, the past 6 months I've been working with birth moms or birth dads who are considering placing their children for adoption. And what that looks like is just giving them the option of adoption and just showing them what that can look like for them and their child. I've been learning a lot that these mothers care a lot about their kids and want the best for them, and it may not always be as pretty as they would like it to be, and it's not always the ideal situation for them to be pregnant. So that's why a lot of them do turn to the option of adoption. And so I've just been learning a lot about the language that I use, how that affects birth moms and where they're at, how not only my words but just society's idea of adoption is generally pretty negative. Why would a mom give up her child? Why would she do that? She's not even thinking about the baby, when a lot of the times that's not the case at all. They are only thinking about the baby at that point. I feel like that's one of the most selfless things that you can do. And a lot of these moms know that they can't raise a child, and it's not necessarily that they don't want to parent the child, it's knowing that they don't have the means to do it. And so I've just been, that in a nutshell, I mean, I've just been learning a lot just about adoption in itself.
Totally.
So.
Well, it sounds like in some ways God's kind of opening your eyes to a whole another set of people that we don't often think about caring for. When you think of birth moms, and now being someone in your mid-20s, and kind of starting out after college and school, and what would you say to someone in your kind of stage of life who's going, I couldn't, at this stage, I can't really foster, I can't really, I'm not really in a place to adopt. Where do I start if I'm like curious about knowing more, or how do I get involved in caring for kids, or for, whatever that looks like?
Wow. Okay, so I think there's a lot of opportunities. First, I mean, I've just become so aware to the language that we use, and I think first is just being aware of how we portray the marginalized, like all the birth moms and stuff, knowing that they are making a plan for their child. It's not just that they're giving away their child. I think just being aware of how we talk about those types of things is one of the main things. Second, just being aware of where your giftings are. If you feel like you are called to work with children and to be a blessing to them directly, that's great. If you know that you just want to be the hands and feet of like an organization, or and just do paperwork and push paper just so kids can be served, that's awesome. Or just taking the time to learn about different organizations in the Fresno area and getting plugged in that way, because ignorance is not always bliss. Well, it might be more blissful, but it's not necessarily, I mean, it's not the best thing, and you could be doing a whole lot. And if you don't even know what you can do, then that's part of the battle right there. So I think awareness is just the biggest.
Let's say one last question. How would you see, what you do intersecting with your faith? Like, do you feel like it, how does it integrate for you?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool ministry opportunity, because I think as Christians we are called to love, and sometimes it's really hard to love people that you don't feel like are making the right decisions, but that's not my place to do it. And so this job has been really teaching me just to have patience and to just love, and to accept people where they're at, because I think that's what we're called to do as Christians. So it's kind of been, it's been trying the last 6 months, but it's been really a great learning opportunity to see that I don't have all the answers, and God does, and even if I don't understand something, it's going to be in God's timing, even if I don't agree with God's timing sometimes. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned through this, or I'm learning through this.
That's awesome. Well, Holly, thank you for your time. I appreciate what you're wanting to hear what God's doing with you professionally, but also just as you're growing as a follower of Christ and how those things intersect for you. So appreciate it.